Hey guys, this is David with Joe's Gaming and Electronics here with the Studio 3 wireless repair video. Today I'll be showing you guys how to replace the Studio 3 right hinge. All the parts can be purchased on our website, www.joesge.com. Also, it's linked in the video. So let's begin. I'll be replacing this hinge here. Here are the parts that I'll be needing. So this is the piece I'll be replacing, which usually fails. I'll replace the headband just because it snapped. As you can tell, the headband folds. So to begin, you will need a pry tool and open this right ear pad by prying right under the ear pad. It is adhered with double-sided tape. So that's that. Put that aside. So now I have access to the speaker. We'll go ahead and unscrew all the screws on the outside with a small Phillips screwdriver. Once you have that unscrewed, you can pop this speaker up, and under here you can, looks like this rubber piece fell off, but this is how it would look. You will need to remove this glue here, here, and here. It's kind of a new thing they did with Studio 3s. They glued everything down. So what I'm going to do is use a heat gun to kind of loosen up that glue. I have it set at 200 degrees Fahrenheit. So let's get that going. So you don't want to heat it too much because the plastic will begin to melt. So once you get all that freed up, we'll go ahead and unsolder the speaker and the charger port. Alright, so we got that taken off. Next move would be to remove this piece of tape here. It's covering a screw. Just use a flathead screwdriver to kind of peel that away. And you can use a Phillips screwdriver to unscrew. Just like that. Now we can pop this housing up. And I'm going to use a flathead screwdriver to kind of push these wires through the hole. And you can get rid of all this. So there's a bunch of tape that's holding the wires together. We won't be needing that. Pretty much free up all the wires. So this wire has a little rubber holder. You can remove that. Don't lose it. At this point, we're going to be working on the outside panel here because the screws are located underneath this cap here. I'm going to use the same flathead screwdriver to remove this, kind of pry it up. Want to be careful not to break this cap. And now, as you can tell, there are 4 screws that are holding this panel together. So we'll go ahead and unscrew this with a small Phillips screwdriver. So once you got that unscrewed, next move would be remove this metal tab that has in the R indicator as the right side. what would you do is get a flathead screwdriver and pry it up right in the middle of the tab, just like that. So at this point, we can remove the inside panel from the outside panel just by sliding it down. But before you want to do that, the wires will need to be freed up. There is glue located right here, right under the panel. I'm going to use the heat gun again and kind of loosen up that glue. And as you can tell, there's the glue. Alright, so at this point, what we're going to do is remove the battery. So I grab the pry tool and kind of pry it up, just like that. You're going to want to heat that up too. It's also glued down. And at the same time, you can heat up these glue points here that's holding the charger port internal wire. Alright, so once we got that removed, we can go ahead and pull these wires through. I like to remove this black piece of tape here that's kind of holding the wires together. You won't need that. And kind of pull these wires through. So at this point, what we're going to do is I want to unplug the battery because I'll be unsoldering these wires here that are connected to the power board, and I don't want anything to happen while the battery's still plugged in. So I'm going to use the heat gun to remove the battery. I'm going to pop this panel up so I'm not melting anything. Alright, got that battery unplugged. Alright, so at this point what you want to do is unplug this wire here. And what we're going to do is unsolder these points right here. So careful not to damage this ribbon cable here. That's the power button. What you can do is I'll unscrew it and kind of let it dangle, but I'm just going to keep it attached. So grab my solder iron and I'm going to go ahead and unsolder these wires here. So there is glue that's over the wires, but you can still unsolder it without. So once you got that unsoldered while the glue is still warm, go ahead and kind of peel that away. You could also heat that up, kind of clear out the points. Alright, so that's good to go. I want to set this aside. And at this point, what we're going to do is remove the hinge and replace it. So you're going to want to bend the hinge down. Get a T5 screwdriver and unscrew these screws here. This should allow you to be able to pull the hinge out. So I like to do one at a time. Just pull one wire at a time so you don't rip anything. Just like that. So as you can tell, part of the headband is still stuck in there. What I'm going to do is try to push it out. It might be stuck, but what we can do to remove that is actually heating it up with the heat gun. So I'm going to add some more heat. Set it at 330 degrees should work. Let's bring the air up a little bit. So we got that out. Let's see if we can get the other side out. Pops out. And we are good to go. So the reason I kind of went through all that trouble removing these pieces is because I'll be still using this portion of the hinge with the new one that I'll be replacing. Grab some pliers and remove this pin that is located right there. We're going to pull that out just like that, and this hinge falls out. So here's the new one. You're gonna need another little clip that's inside the hinge. And so we're gonna replace this one. It's all scratched up. Sometimes they break right here. That's when you would want to replace these hinges. So when you have your new hinge, go ahead and get that clip, install that, put the pin back in. Alright, so now we got the hinge ready, we can assemble the headphones back together. So, but before I do this, I will need to replace the headband because it's also broken, as you can tell. So what we're going to do is remove these screws here on the left side of the headphones. Pop up this headband cushion with the pry tool. So it looks like whoever previously tried to repair these used glue, which is not recommended at all. I have to kind of pry this up. So I'm gonna grab my new headband, here it is. So actually before that, it'd be easier to probably just install the hinge first. So let's go ahead and pull these wires through the hinge. I'm going to start with the wires with these little MS ports attached to them. So you can kind of help the wires go through with the screwdriver. Alright, we got that pushed through. Let's go ahead and install the headband. So if you're looking at the headphones from left to right, it should say Beats when you're looking towards it. Go ahead and clip the headband cushion back in. And now you can screw this hinge back in. So go ahead and slide the hinge all the way in and screw it in to the headband. So finally the hinge is installed. Let's go ahead and solder the power board back on. So get a little bit of flux and cover the points. Grab your solder iron and we can go ahead and solder this wire on. Alright, we got that soldered on. Your next move, get your inside panel and go ahead and push these wires through from the back end. You will need to push this charger port wire through also. Just like this. So you can now at this point plug your battery back in. Looks like the headphone's powered on. That's a good sign. Let's go ahead and power them off. Locate your rubber. So this blue rubber cover helps this MS port stay in place. Go ahead and push that into place. And now we will slide the panels together. Extend the hinge a couple times, make sure you have enough slack. So you can tell that there's a lot of wire, you can push this through. Make sure the wires are all kind of tucked away and away from the screw holes here, so you don't accidentally screw the wires through. Alright, so once you got that, you can go ahead and screw in the 4 screws that are holding the outside panel together. Make sure there's no wires in the way. Once you got that screwed in, you can go ahead and install this center cap here. Make sure the groove is aligned right here. And at this point, grab your speaker cup here and go ahead and push all these wires through the hole here. And now we're going to position the speaker cup with the rubber. So pretty much this charger port groove is located towards the bottom. Alright. Now we can go ahead and screw in this center screw to hold that cup. And I'm gonna cover it. Use a pry tool to push in the rubber all the way around. Kind of just have to work it all the way around. Once I get to this point here in the back, I usually use a flathead screwdriver to kind of help the rubber go through the holes here. So you kind of want to pull these out a little bit to get a nice tight seal. So now we got that installed. Go ahead and grab your speaker. I'm going to solder this on. So the first thing I'm going to solder on is the yellow 3-core wire. Okay, next one would be this red and black wire. This is the charger port wire. And finally, this blue speaker wire, a 2-core. Right. So what you want to do here is kind of align these wires, align all these wires into these grooves here. So the thicker yellow one you can place first, and then the speaker wire, and the white MS port. Let's go ahead and slide that in. So very important to make sure this is properly secured in this section here. I'm gonna go ahead and put all these wires in, just like that. So I'm just gonna tucking this down, pushing it down like this, speaker. And what I'm gonna do is visually inspect, make sure no wires are in the way of the screw holes. That way you don't damage anything. So it looks good to me. Well, actually, you don't want to forget this little rubber for the charge port. So make the visual inspection and go ahead and start screwing that speaker to the speaker cup. Let's get that last screw in. Alright, so final step, grab your ear pad. I peeled off the old tape. I'm going to go ahead and use this new 3M tape here. Go ahead and unpeel. Let's install this. And just place the cup or this ear pad onto the cup, just like that. And there you have it, folks. This is the Studio 3 wireless right hinge replacement. If you guys have any questions about the repair, feel free to comment down below. We do sell all the parts on our website at www.joesge.com. Thanks for watching. Have a great day.